I'm boning out on your move.
What up guys, Zach D again. Today I'm going to show you how to hang one of these bathroom vanities. This can apply to many different models of bathroom vanities. Some of the techniques I'm going to use on this one probably shouldn't use as much on like a heavier light fixture. Yeah, so I'm just going to start with taking the bracket off. Take these little screws out. Usually once I get these screws out, I put them in a safe place because it gets frustrating to try to find screws in a house that doesn't have lights, obviously, because I'm the one installing them. So I'm going to put them on this countertop because it's pretty easy to find them on that. I'm going to take my bracket, I'm going to put it up here on the ladder, and then let me show you the box I'm working with. So I'm using a pancake box here. It's extremely shallow. They had to use it because of plumbing. Yeah, most people don't like using these. They are pretty limited in some ways, but yeah, sometimes you just got to use them and you got to work with them. And one of the tricks I'm going to do on this is going to make it slightly easier. So I'm going to set this vanity down, and first I'm going to pull the wires out like this. And next I'm going to take the screws out of the pancake. They come preloaded with their own screws, so you should really use those. You can use like the stock 832s occasionally that come with them. This specific shallow box has 1032s, so yeah, really try not to lose them because I've noticed a lot of companies don't just carry those around. So yeah, get used to that. Now, what I like to do after I've got everything disassembled and I'm ready, well actually first, sorry, I skipped a step. But I like to strip this wire out first, so it's just less I'm doing because I'm going to be holding the vanity while I'm doing this. Now, what I like to do as well is I like to get the wire nuts in my dominant hand that I'm going to be spinning them with. And it takes a little while to get used to holding these in your hand while you're doing stuff, but if you just try hard enough, you'll get it. So I'm going to start with making sure the bracket is facing the proper way. And I'm going to lightly take these wires. I'm gonna let this hang because it's such a light fixture, no pun intended, but yeah, I'm gonna let it hang. A lot of people don't really like doing this because I know it puts stress on the light. This fixture is extremely light, so I'm not worried about it. Now I'm gonna take this ground wire, I always do my ground first, and I'm gonna twist it around the ground. Then obviously I put the wire nut on it. I don't know if you noticed, but I ran the wires coming from the light fixture through the bracket first, and it's just hanging here with my light. And then I'm going to take the neutral. I usually do ground to neutral hot. That's just the systematic breakdown of how I hook it up every single time. I don't know that it matters when the power's off. It kind of is nice if the power's on. If you do it that way, hooking it up, and then the reverse way, you know, unhook the power, then unhook the neutral, then unhook the ground. Okay, now I have all the wire nuts hooked up, so I'm going to grab the vanity again now that I'm not working with anything else. I'm going to put these wires back into the box, and I'm going to lay them flat. Obviously this is a extremely shallow box, so one of the more difficult parts of putting a vanity up is getting the wires into the box and then getting the fixture on. But if you wait to put the bracket on until the very last, or one of the last steps, I guess second to last steps, you can really get these wires flat in here so that you're not having to deal with that. Now, once I get the wires flattened out in there, I'm going to take the bracket and line it up with the holes. Another thing to consider is whatever box you're using and whatever light you're using, the brackets don't always line up. So preemptively, before you even start putting this light up, you should kind of take a look at that and mock your bracket up on the box so that you can get an idea of where it's going to sit or where it's going to line up. Because they don't always line up, and if you don't do this beforehand, you might have to take the whole thing apart and rotate the box. I mean, it just becomes this whole ordeal. But yeah, it's just, you go ahead and check the box beforehand. That's always a safe bet. So yeah, like this one specifically, the bracket is not very conducive to this light fixture. But yeah, if you just, that one step has saved me so much time, just putting the bracket on after I get the wires hooked up, because it saves you so much room, and it helps you get these wires packed into this box easier. Because again, this is a very shallow box, there's not a ton of room. Now that I've got all this, one thing that you want to consider when you're putting that bracket on, you do not want to cinch the screw down too tight. You just want it to be snug on the wall. Obviously we don't want the light fixture to be able to move, we don't want it to be wobbly. But if you over tighten it, thinking that you're just, oh, I need to make sure it's super tight. Well, if you over tighten it, what that can do is sometimes it'll bow the screws out that the Vanity attaches to, and then it wants to hang off the wall more than it should. So now, I got this up, I'm going to line up this first screw, and I put my screws right here so I wouldn't lose them. And if you don't have a stubby screwdriver, what I like to do is just use my drill bit, because that way I'm not touching the wall any more than I have to. And even with those stubby screwdrivers, you'll notice that when you're spinning it, they're just a little too thick to do that, because they'll rub on the wall as you're spinning the screw, and they usually mark it up with like this black residue from the handle or whatever. You could even use one of those security screwdrivers, like the small ones we use on chime kits or any of the smaller devices, because those are a smaller cylinder, so they don't abrade these walls too much. This top screw can be a little bit of a pain in the ass, but if you just stick in there, you'll get it. Oh, there we go. Dropped it in. I'm going to thread it a little bit with my hand, because seeing as I don't have a actual screwdriver, this can be a little troublesome. Just going to get it tight. I want to make sure it's tight, but not too tight. Obviously, anytime you over tighten any of this stuff, these light fixtures are not the most rigid thing in the world, so you really got to be careful with them. And if you damage one, you know, you got to report it to whoever's supplying the lights, and it just becomes a whole thing. So yeah, moral of the story: be careful with everything. So now, last step, I'm going to take my level out. And since I didn't cinch this down, I can kind of rotate the bracket. And since this is a two-part Vanity, you know, it's got this back part and it's got the front part. They're cheap, again, you know, it just is, it is what it is. So manufacturing wise, you got to make sure this part's level and this part's level, because sometimes they'll twist. But yeah. And then if you see it coming off the wall, just kind of push it back. Just tighten it down a little bit more. Then you won't get that rocking back and forth. So yeah, that is one way to hang up a vanity light. And yeah, I know it's been a while since I posted an electrical video, and post a lot of other videos just because I guess I'm having fun on the internet. So yeah, let me know how you feel, what you like, what you want to see, what problems you have with anything I'm doing. But yeah, just let me know in the comments, like, subscribe. Yep.
I'm boning out on your move.